It starts in silence. No spotlight, no cheers, no walk-up music, just dirt, dust, and a dull ache in the knees before the game even begins. You crouch, you wait, you watch. Behind the plate is a place where pain is routine and praise is rare, where even greatness is hidden under layers of gear and expectation. No position in sports demands more and gives back less. Not in attention, not in headlines, not even in the currency of respect. And yet, every inning begins with a man wearing a mask, hiding the truth that most of the game doesn't want to talk about. Because the truth is this: being a catcher in modern baseball isn't just hard, it is punishing. Not punishing in the way sprinting the outfield is hard, or in the way throwing 98 on the mound drains the arm. It's punishing in the way that slowly, over time, it chips away at who you are. You're not just catching baseballs. You're absorbing violence. You're absorbing blame. And you're absorbing a kind of isolation that no stat can measure. Catchers are the only players who face the game backward. They watch it unfold from a view no one else has. And yet, they're the first to be questioned, the last to be noticed. Every inning is a test of trust. Between you and your pitcher, between you and your coaches, between you and a body that's begging for rest by the fifth inning. You put the gear on every night like armor, but it's not protection. It's expectation. The pitcher gets the glory. The batter gets the contract. The crowd watches them both docu. You're just part of the background noise. But make a mistake, drop a third strike, call the wrong pitch, miss a tag. You're not background anymore. You're the scapegoat. People think the hardest part of catching is the crouch. But it's not the position. It's the permanence. You are expected to endure everything and react to everything without cracking, without complaining. Your job is to fix everyone else's mistakes while having no margin for your own. There's a saying in the game: if you notice the catcher, something went wrong. That's not praise. That's a warning. The modern game has evolved into a machine, efficient, calculated, unforgiving. But catchers, they don't get upgraded. They get worn down. They are expected to adapt to new metrics, to new systems, to pitchers who throw harder and wilder than ever before. And when their body can't keep up, they're not seen as warriors. They're seen as liabilities. What makes it suck to be a catcher isn't just the job. It's that no one truly sees the cost of doing it right. Every game, every pitch, every squat behind the plate is a negotiation with pain. Not the kind that gets you pulled or put on the injured list. The kind that lingers, quiet, invisible, and constant. The knees go first. They say it takes 150 pitches to get through a 9-inning game. That's 150 squats. Multiply that by 160 games, and it becomes something much darker than repetition. It becomes erosion. Cartilage wears down. Tendons fray. There are mornings when catchers can't walk downstairs without bracing the wall. Ice baths aren't recovery. They're survival. Then it's the hands. Cracked bones. Jammed thumbs. The kind of bruises that never fully go away. The glove offers minimal shelter. When a 99 miles per hour fastball tails just slightly off the target, it's your palm that eats the mistake. The nerves take the hit. Over time, fingers go numb permanently. There are catchers who can no longer properly grip a pen years after retiring. Then comes the punishment no one trains for. Foul tips to the mask. One deflection can knock you into a fog you never fully escape. Catchers are concussed at alarming rates, yet most never get diagnosed. Because if you're out for 7 days, you're replaced for 10, and replacements don't always get sent back down. And still, the expectation is to endure. There are catchers who have taken pitches off the collarbone, spit blood behind the plate, and finished the inning. There are those who've broken fingers mid-game, taped them together between innings, and kept going because they knew they weren't just catching. They were auditioning to keep their job. Because in modern baseball, there's always someone younger, cheaper, and more analytically efficient waiting behind you. You don't just play hurt. You live hurt. And you're told that's what makes you valuable until the pain finally wins. No other position demands you be both a wall and a mirror. You block every pitch in the dirt, absorb every awkward bounce. But when the game ends and a pitcher falters, they still ask, "What pitch did you call?" You're the last line of defense, the physical punching bag, and the emotional shock absorber. Baseball celebrates grit in theory, but when it lives behind the plate, bleeding from a foul tip and dragging one leg, it becomes invisible. The league doesn't market it. Fans don't idolize it. Highlight reels don't show the grimace after a backpick tag. What they miss is the body count. The real cost of the position, the anatomy of a catcher, isn't just muscle and bone. It's scar tissue and silence. There's a reason pitchers call catchers their psychologists, because behind the chest protector is a mind-juggling chaos. Every pitch, every batter, every count, every swing. It's not just physical positioning, it's mental orchestration. The catcher doesn't get time to think. He thinks in real time, with outcomes hanging in the balance. Most people don't know this. Before a single pitch is thrown, the catcher's already deep into probabilities. What's this hitter's hot zone? What did he chase in the third inning last night? Did the pitcher's slider flatten after 60 throws last outing? How's the umpire's zone tonight? The catcher doesn't guess. He calculates, and then he hides it behind steel eyes and a steel glove. There's no glamour in calling a perfect game. No box score stat for pitch sequencing. No advanced metric for psychological endurance. A pitcher throws a gem and the headlines praise his dominance. But what they don't say is who guided him through it, who felt the pulse, adjusted tempo, calmed the storm. When a catcher nails the game plan, he's doing his job. When he misses, he's the problem. This is the silent contract of the position. You are held responsible, but rarely recognized. In the modern game, that contract has only gotten heavier. Analytics have added another layer to the mental load. It's not just about gut instinct anymore. It's about data, heat maps, spin rates, vertical approach angles. Catchers are now expected to be part coach, part analyst, part machine. They're handed tablets pregame, told to memorize profiles, to anticipate tendencies, to internalize scouting reports that grow longer every week. And then, in the heat of the moment, they must discard all of that if their pitcher's arm starts to shake. The true way to catching isn't just squatting for 3 hours. It's making the 100 silent decisions a game and living with every single one. Miss a pitch call in a tight inning and you're questioned in the locker room. Stick along with a struggling pitcher and you're criticized for loyalty. Call for a breaking ball that hangs and you've just cost a win, or worse, someone's job. Yet when the call is right, when the slider nips the corner, when the double play ends the inning, the moment belongs to someone else. Catchers are taught to have short memories, but they're expected to have long minds. The truth is, many of them go home and replay every inning, every call, like a movie they can stop watching. Because no one else will. Because if they don't hold themselves accountable, no one else will. The mind of a catcher is a lonely place, full of noise, full of pressure, full of decisions that nobody sees until they go wrong. Baseball never stops changing, but not every player evolves with it. Some get left in its shadow. The catcher has become one of them. Once seen as the field general, the emotional anchor, the trusted voice of reason behind the plate. Now, in many front offices, the catcher is just another data point, just another variable in a spreadsheet. What used to be instinct is now algorithm. Pitch framing, once an art, now a quantifiable skill, has changed everything. Millions of dollars hinge on how well you can steal strikes, not throw runners out, not call a game, not handle pressure, but how quiet your glove is when catching a borderline pitch. A quiet glove now defines your future. It doesn't matter how gritty you are, how much pitchers trust you, or how well you understand hitters. If the metrics say you're a below-average framer, you're expendable. The game no longer cares about feel, only efficiency, and looming over it all is the threat of automation, robo-umps, electronic strike zones, a system that can erase the need for framing entirely. And when that happens, what then? A skill catcher spent years perfecting, dead in a moment. Even managing pitchers has changed. The dugout is wired with data. Game plans are printed out. Coaches call pitches from the bench. The catcher's mind, the one that used to navigate innings on instinct, now takes signals from laminated charts. The job keeps shrinking, one technological advancement at a time. And then there's the stolen base epidemic. Rule changes have given runners more freedom, bigger bases, pitch clock restrictions, limited pickoff moves. All of it punishes one person the most, the guy with the slowest start, the catcher. Throwing out runners has become harder than ever, and yet, catchers are blamed more than ever. The stat line doesn't say, pitcher was slow to the plate. It says, catcher didn't throw him out. What makes this worse? The ones who adapt fastest are often forgotten just as fast. Young, athletic catchers are taught to prioritize framing over blocking, arm strength over chemistry. They're trained not to lead, but to comply, to match the system, not master the game. The result? A generation of catchers more efficient, but more replaceable. Baseball has always been brutal, but it used to reward those who understood its rhythm, those who could think, grind, and feel their way through 9 innings. Now, it rewards those who match a model. The catcher's evolution wasn't one of growth. It was one of reduction. The role didn't adapt. It got dissected, fragmented into categories, and in that dissection, something was lost. The soul of the position. The truth is harsh in a sport that once revered the warrior behind the plate. Modern baseball has traded him for something colder. When the cameras roll, they don't linger behind the plate. They follow the slugger rounding third, the pitcher punching the air, the outfielder crashing into the wall. Glory has a look, and it doesn't wear a chest protector. Catchers live in the gaps between those moments, working, bleeding, enduring, and when the lights go up, they disappear. You'll rarely find a catcher in MVP conversations, not because they don't matter, but because the things they do can't be easily counted. There's no staff for calming a pitcher with a glance. No award for taking 20 borderline pitches and turning 14 of them into strikes that save an outing. No record kept of how many innings they play through injury because the bullpen is gassed. And there is no one else. In a game obsessed with numbers, the most important things a catcher does don't show up in box scores. And that's the tragedy, because the grind is constant. Wow. Sluggers get rest days, catchers push through double headers, while starting pitchers enjoy for days of recovery. Catchers take foul tips off the mask nights in a row and still show up on the third. They're told to be leaders, but not stars. Warriors, but not heroes. And when they do shine, when they have that rare 3-hit game, that perfect throw to second, that inning-saving block in the dirt, it's treated like a bonus, not a breakthrough, an exception, not who they are. Even the greats fade faster. Catchers age before their time. The same wear and tear that defines their toughness shortens their careers. Bodies break down, reflexes dull, knees rebel, and when they can no longer play every night, they're not eased into part-time roles. They're discarded, because in the eyes of the modern game, once a catcher loses half a step, he's lost his value. There's a brutal irony here. The one position that demands the most sacrifice, the most resilience, the most selflessness, is also the one the sport forgets first. Fans remember walk-offs, strikeout records, game-saving catches. But ask them who called the game behind the plate during a postseason shutout, and most will shrug. The catcher is the sport's most necessary afterthought. This is where the romance ends, where the dream of being the captain, the anchor, the beating heart of the team meets the cold truth. You are expected to carry everyone, and in return, carry your own invisibility. Catchers don't play for fame. They play for the guy on the mound who trusts them. For the moment, they get a nod from the manager without a word spoken. For the nights they know they held a game together even if no one else did. That's not glory. That's grit. Some do it for the love of the game, but that's not why they stay. They stay because no one else can do it like they can. Because somewhere between the bruises, the silence, the sleepless nights and ice packs and shadows, they found something that mattered more than spotlight: responsibility. Being a catcher is choosing to carry the weight others won't. It's a vow made in dirt, reinforced with every pitch caught in the dark, every inning played through pain, every conversation with a broken pitcher on the edge of unraveling. It's not for the recognition. It never was. There's no glamour in knowing the signs by heart, no fame in being the first one at the ballpark, reviewing film of a bullpen arm no one else has heard of, no highlight reel for quietly saving a game by noticing a subtle hitch in a batter's stance and adjusting the entire sequence. What they do can't always be seen, but it can be felt by teammates who trust, by coaches who lean on them, by pitchers who owe careers to the voice that steadied them. And in those rare moments, under the stadium lights, when everything hangs on a single pitch, the catcher becomes something else. Not just a player, not just a protector, but the embodiment of what the game used to be: hard, honest, and human. Because catchers don't ask for the game to be easier. They just ask to be respected for what it takes to survive it, for the years sacrificed in the shadows, for the pain swallowed without a sound, for the careers cut short before anyone noticed they were even there. They know what the position demands, and still, they choose it. In a sport that glorifies individual brilliance, catchers offer themselves up to be the glue, to hold everything together, to carry a team through the storm. And when it's all over, when their bodies give out and their names fade from memory, they'll never chase legacy, because they were never playing for that. They were playing for the ones who know, the few who understand what it costs, the even fewer who can bear it. There's no stat for soul, no number that measures what a catcher gives, what he loses, and what he leaves behind. Only those who've worn the mask, who've squatted through pain, who've felt the sting of silence and the coldness of being overlooked, only they truly understand. Behind the plate, beyond the pain, lies a brotherhood not built on glory, but on sacrifice.